Dang, Mario, that looked so cool when we did that. That was so cool. Welcome, everybody, to Merlin Off the Charts. My name is Jeremy. I am one of the co-founders oh, sweet. It still says co-founder of Age of Radio on there. I need to change that. I just noticed that it says that. I'm the co-founder of Age of Radio, but I'm also the chief financial officer of Merlin, the smartest way to track your crypto. And I have my good friend here, Mario at Link with Mario. If you want to go follow him on social media, he is the chief experience officer of Merlin as well. And we spend the entire day on Fridays making content. So we thought we should just start doing this also on Fridays. Merlin Off the Charts is going to be a live Q&A and demo session for Merlin, so we can show people all the cool new things that are happening with Merlin, how Merlin works, and people can ask us questions, and we'll answer those questions as well. Before we get started, Mario, how was your day? How was your Friday? I saw you did the little story on Instagram, and you were driving. So have you had a productive morning?
I did have a very productive morning. Hi, everybody. Hope you're all doing amazing. Why did we lose Jeremy?
No, it was my fault. I was trying to change the name, and I hit remove instead of edit name and headline. I got to remember that, and then I'm gonna have to remember to change this later because we have so many shows that we have to do today.
I know.
But continue. So, how was your morning?
Morning was great, super productive. I got to do a bunch of. I'm in the process of moving, so I got to go to the new place. Had a couple of appointments set up. Internet's ready to go there. So also did a little bit of work. Had a couple of meetings. Drove back to what is my old place, I guess you could call it now. But it's still where I have all my setup. Eventually, next time we do this, I am going to be in my new setup. So I'm super excited because as we're ramping up a lot of the content that we've been working on, the podcast and with this show as well. I do want to have like a nicer setup to be able to do these. It's just something I geek out with that type of stuff. So I enjoy it. But it's been a great morning, Jeremy, and I'm really excited that we've transitioned to starting to do these calls or these live streams. And it's the first episode of many. We're calling it Off the Charts. It's kind of a twist to it. So we thought it was a very nice name. It's got a nice ring to it. But welcome in, everybody. Share this video, share this live stream so that we can get more people aware that we're going to be doing these on a regular basis.
Yeah, and if you're watching this right now and you're not sure what Merlin is, it is a crypto tracking app. And it allows you to aggregate your coins across multiple exchanges and wallets into one simple dashboard so you can see what's going on with your portfolio. But more importantly, one of the things that sets Merlin apart is we allow you to create exit strategies, and recently we allow you to create entry strategies. And so to kick us off, Mario, before we go into some of the demos, why do the strategies exist? I think you were a part of this more than I was during the 3T Warrior Academy building this out. I think you actually created the original exit strategy. So what was that specific situation that happened when you guys did that?
Oh, man, I love telling that story. So I actually, during our coaching sessions that we do in the academy with our clients, I always like to get the first session with the client started with an introduction. I always like to know more about the client, but I also always give an introduction on myself because I want the client to know who I am and what I do as well. So I always tell that story. I tell that story about how my involvement or me becoming a part of the team over on the 3T side began with working on a spreadsheet at nighttime after work. So I would come home after work and we would be working on the spreadsheet. But the idea spurred from, and Coach JV has told this story many times about how Crypto Cito, who was an influencer or a content creator in the crypto space, he once came and did a collaboration with Coach JV, and he was like, "Hey, do you guys do an exit plan or an exit strategy?" And he's like, "What are you talking about? What is that?" So then we started working. He was like, "It makes complete sense. Yeah, that's something that's super important." So we began working on a spreadsheet, and when I say we, me and Johnny Crypto started meeting at nighttime to work on this spreadsheet. That
must have been fun. Must have been long nights.
Those were very long nights, Jeremy. I mean, like I'm talking 1-2 o'clock in the morning, and that's late for me because I'm early to bed and early to rise. So
you were an early riser.
Yeah. So we would be working on this spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet was a portfolio, kind of like a portfolio tracker in the sense you could put your portfolio in there, organize it, transactions. And also the most important thing, obviously the differentiator with it was the exit strategy piece. But Johnny would be like, "Hey Mario, can we do notifications?" And I'm like, "No, Johnny, it would have to be an app for that." "Hey Mario, can we automate the price tracking?" And I'm like, "No, Johnny, it's got to be an app for that." Little did I know that Johnny, a few years in the past, had an app idea. So he looked for a couple of developers and built an app. And when I kept saying it's got to be an app for that, it triggered in his mind that, hey, this is a great idea to build an app that does this because it doesn't exist. So I always like to say in my videos, we pioneered the idea of having exit strategies within a crypto portfolio tracker. That was non-existent. You didn't have that before us. So we pioneered that idea, and that's essentially what spurred Merlin. Fast forward a couple of years, and actually, Jeremy, it's our birthday as far as when we went live with what were we calling those people that were signing up early?
Oh, the tester. I think we have them.
Not necessarily testers, but the pre-release or something.
The pre-release people. There's a chat. It's the people that are in that chat, isn't it? I think that there's a WhatsApp
no,
chat.
More than that. We were collecting. I remember we were allowing people to go in and put their email to become part
like
of
the wait list.
The wait list. That's the one.
Yep.
So
they got early access.
The early access began. I will never forget. It was the last couple of weeks of August in 2023. So 3 years we're celebrating of Merlin going live.
3 freaking years. And what's really cool about that is we've had multiple features that have come out over those last 3 years. So it hasn't really stayed the same, which I'm really excited about. Which I think would be a good segue into talking about some of those features. So since this is all about an exit strategy, when we originally started Merlin, how do you put in the exit strategy not using the exit strategy builder? How would you have to do that?
That was the biggest question we got. Being the head of customer support, I would always see those questions come through, which is like, how do I even come up with the exit targets? So we did a lot of content around it. We obviously outlined the fact that one of the most accurate ways.
I think Johnny has that Fibonacci video still in the videos of him showing people how to do Fibonacci's and then setting up exit targets.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's the most professional way to do it, but it's also the most intricate and kind of complicated way to do it, the more technical way to do it. But we'd also outline, you can do percentage based, you can just have actual price targets in your mind that you think are reasonable. So we would do that a lot, but it still wouldn't necessarily solve the problem. So I always say this, the team got hard at work, and they did something that revolutionized that that big question that we always got throughout the years. And that's what you're just referring to as far as the exit strategy builder. It's just so much quicker now, and it takes only 3 clicks. That's all, 3 clicks.
Yeah. Do you think that we could start there with looking at a demo for the exit strategy builder so people can see what that looks like and how that might be inside of Merlin? Because again, the whole idea is for you to take profits on the way up. Like that's why exit strategies exist, as Mario was selling in the story before of how they came up with the idea. But the reason behind the exit strategy is so that as money starts to move, you can pull profits on the way up and reallocate them into other specific assets, or you can save to deploy later into other assets. And so what happens a lot of the times is Johnny likes to say, one of the co-founder, and we're talking about Johnny Crypto of the Good Morning Crypto Show and then now the Good Evening Crypto Show. One of the things that he had always mentions is rubbernecking. You watch it go all the way up and you see it go all the way down, because as it's going up, the smart money is pulling their money out of it to either buy back in later or to invest somewhere else. And that's the reason why you need to have an exit strategy. And so as Mario is going to demonstrate here with our exit strategy builder, you can now do that in just a few simple clicks if you're part of our pro plan.
Yep. So what you're all seeing now, thank you, Jeremy. What you're all seeing now is Merlin, and specifically I've clicked on the BTC asset. So we're seeing the BTC page for the portfolio. Now you'll notice that there's the Your BTC Strategy section, and notice how we also have an entry toggle. So I'm sure we're going to get to talk about that in just a moment too, but that's an exciting thing in and of itself. But we'll start with creating an exit strategy. So before, clicking this button would reveal this panel here to the right. but we wouldn't have this thing here in the middle. And this thing here in the middle is the exit strategy builder. It explains to you how to use it. I'm going to show you. So I usually just skip right through this because I do a much better job at demonstrating it, than just a little wizard. But what I like to do first, Jeremy, is we get the chart. So what I like to do first is zoom out a couple of times, hit this minus button here on the top right corner so we can have a big picture. And then we have the instructions right here in the top left corner. Select your high and low points. Click and drag from high to low. Okay, so high and low points. We have education to kind of explain how selecting those high and low points, how you go about selecting those high and low points. That's literally the biggest question at this point. And it's not something that we can unfortunately kind of solve for, because the Fibonacci tool can be used in many different ways. So it's actually a scenario where it's not that one way is right and the other way is wrong. It's really all ways are kind of right. It just depends on how you're trying to create your strategy. So what I mean is, what we want to do is we want to look for the prior highest point. And the prior highest point that we can see here in the chart is this one right here. Now, we could use this one and then drag it forward into the low, but that is if we assume that this is going to be the low, meaning we're not going to get a lower low than what we've had so far. So what I personally like to do is I like to use the data that we have and know for sure. So what I'm going to do is, instead of using this most current high, I'm going to go back into the last cycle, which is 2021, and use that high instead, because for that one, we have the high and we also have the structure already complete. So we know what the low came in at. So click that, drag it all the way.
So essentially what you're doing, Mario, is you're going to the previous lowest low from the highest high.
Correct.
Got it.
Yes.
Yep.
And we always want to move left to right. So we click the high, and then we don't want to go left. Meaning we don't want to go to the past. That's not how it works. It will actually not be accurate. So what we want to do is always move to the right. Let me reset it. So using the high of 2021, we then want to move to the right and click on the lowest point. And now we have the Fibonacci levels all drawn out on the screen. As you saw, we've done 2 clicks so far. Well, I guess you could count the zoom out a couple of clicks, but the actual clicks that take for you to put this together was only 2 clicks. It was a click on the high and the click on the low. With these levels, we don't need to worry about that per se. The last thing we need to do is here on the number of exit targets, we need to tell Merlin how many exit targets we would like Merlin to extract from these levels. Up to 10. So I usually like to just go all out on 10 so we can get the bigger picture. And now this is where we're going to do our 3rd click. And we get all of the levels, all of the different prices here outlined for us. This is so we can review the targets. If we're happy with how things look, we can click build strategy, or we can continue editing so we can edit the Fibonacci extension. But I'm going to go ahead and do build strategy. And what this has done is brought all those targets over into what used to be how we started. This is how we started. This was this section here, this panel. This is how the exit strategy component worked. But you wouldn't have the ability to pre-populate all of these price targets. You would have to come up with these targets on your own. And that's what we've revolutionized, Jeremy.
Yep, absolutely. And that's the best part about Merlin, in my opinion, is the easiness, how easy it is to actually come up with this. Because one of the things that stops people from investing, or that makes them like afraid of it, is knowing when they should not be involved with something, rather than having to go and pour over a ton of data to make an assessment. So with something like this, you could go ahead and be like, oh, I want to get into Bitcoin, or I want to try my foot in Ether or an XRP or an XLM, and you can then look at the data easier from this perspective and say, okay, I can exit out at these different areas, and it will help you. I guess, in my opinion, I think it helps people feel more confident in what they're doing, right? Or because life happens, like I'm super busy, you're super busy, you have, a family that you have to take, you have 4 children. That's got to be a handful in and of itself. I have
All
no
hands on
children
deck.
and I'm super busy, right? And so when I'm thinking about that, having this set up and then being able to forget it and then being notified, or going and setting, sell orders in your broker, or with your brokerage house, whether it's Coinbase or Kraken or wherever you have it, you know, you can have that peace of mind of being able to go through life and then knowing that you're not going to miss out. So you don't have all that anxiety building like, oh, I have to be, you know, paying attention to this at all times. So from here, Mario, real quick. So they can select how much that they want to sell. They can select how much that they want to hold, and then they'll put percentages in, correct?
Yeah, correct. So the way that this gets complete now is by first telling Merlin from your total of coins, and we're looking at Bitcoin in this example. We can see at the top it actually tells us the total amount that we have for the asset, which is Bitcoin, and it even tells us what our average price is. So these are the two most important components that we need to be able to determine everything else under here. So how many coins do we want to sell on, you know, applicable to this strategy? I'm going to do 50-50 just to keep the numbers simple. So it automatically calculates to the right of it what that translates to in the number of coins. So 1.25 of Bitcoin will go towards the sell targets. The other 1.25 will not go towards the sell targets, meaning we're not creating an exit strategy for it at the moment. So then underneath it, we have all of the targets, all the 10 targets, okay? And all you need to do is put the percentage amount or the number of coins that you want to sell at each one of those targets. So obviously, you know, if I just do 10 across the board, we have 10 targets, that will give us the 100% allocation, but I'm not going to go that easy. You know, I'm going to customize it a little bit more. I'm going to do like 5% on the lower ones. I'm going to do 5% all the way up to here. So what I really like as well, Jeremy, is that as I am putting these percentages in, this here is updating real time with how much I've allocated so far and what I have remaining. So 80% is still remaining. So that helps me as I kind of go down the list to be able to see how much I have remaining. I'm going to start going a little more aggressive because the price is getting, you know, super high. So I want to start taking profits a little more aggressively, but I'm going to end up with a 10-10-10. So let's populate. Actually, I went over. So I'll do 5 and 5.
Yeah.
And now yep.
Oh, go ahead, Mario. Nope, go ahead.
So yeah, so now we've allocated the full amount. We can see that this here says 100% of coins allocated, but look at some stuff that happened here on the side. You know, these numbers right here under proceeds. This is cool because it's telling us real time how much in dollars and what the profit and gain translates to if we were to reach that price target and exit that amount that we're putting in. So it forecasts for us what we could potentially be looking at as a proceed, as a return on our investment, with even a calculation of the total proceeds at the bottom. Yep. So you were saying something very important, Jeremy, that I did want to add, like you saying, you know, planning and why Merlin is so important. We've all heard that saying, you plan, what is it? Plan to fail to plan, plan to fail.
If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. Yes.
Exactly. And that's why. And to me, what I think is the biggest part is that if we don't have a plan, it opens the room for emotions to dictate what we're probably going to do. But if we have a plan, then we're more likely to stick to our plan than let the emotions of the moment dictate what we're going to do. So I want to add that in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Because that was the exact same thing that, you know, if anybody follows myself or Mario on other social media or a part of our 3T Warrior Academy, which is one of the investors into Merlin, is that one of the things that we've that I've always done is I've been buying XLM for freaking years and I've never taken any profit. And so finally I was like, oh, I really need to go in there. Once the exit strategy builder was built, I actually went in there and used the exit strategy to set those targets, hit a first target, right, based off of my average, you know, buy-in price, because I've been buying it for so long, and I hit that, and then I made the sell, and it was non-emotional. It wasn't like, oh, should I not do this? It was like, oh, we hit that, I did it, right? And so I think that that's one of the biggest things too, is that the reason why you're investing, right, and most people are investing so that it can grow money, right? They're not trying to buy enough of it to have control of the company. They're not doing any of that. They're investing in something so that they can gain wealth or gain, you know, profit. And so you have to have something in place to specifically get that profit. And I think that this is one of the best ways to set that up. Obviously, I'm biased because we are owners and have built the company. But despite that part, if we look at the exit targets, one thing that I will notice is, and I got this from one of the warriors in the 3T Warrior Academy, Craig. So I'll give credit where credit's due. He said one of the things that helps him is he set up a a process or like an SOP for himself, I guess, that he's always going to be doing. I think it was 5 targets, and he's going to have like, he's always going to do it as like 10, 10, 15 or whatever. He like has the exact numbers that he's going to do for everything, which is also something that can help when you're doing this, because it can give you a sense of like, okay, the easier that you can make it for your mind to do it, to say, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and be disciplined in it, you're more likely to benefit from utilizing the product and getting the profit. The last thing that I want to touch on here, and then we'll go into see if anybody has questions on anything with the exit strategy builder, is that it also shows the tax liability, right?
Yes, down here.
Yep. So inside of the settings, you can set your effective tax rate or your estimated tax rate. And whatever that number is, when you're building these exit strategies, it will show you what you need to set aside for taxes. And I'm not going to say anything more about taxes, but in the future, there might be more about taxes. So we're just going to leave that at that, because again, we're trying to consistently improve Merlin. So take that for what it's worth. But with that, Mario, do you have anything else that you want to show about exit strategies?
Yeah, just a couple of last things, but you know, we're not going to say anything about taxes, but wink, wink, right? Estimated taxes, that's the one thing you just referenced. The last step to do here is to press the save exit strategy. I will say this, but it's very important. At this point, it doesn't mean Merlin's going to sell for you. We don't sell for you. That's one of the beautiful things about Merlin, is that it adds no exposure to your crypto. It simply plugs into your wallets and into your exchanges in the way where it just reads your information. We leverage the fact that we can read it to be able to give you information you can't get from those platforms. So we're going to send you notifications. Those notifications come in even before the price has been hit, because look what's happened in the last 48 hours for crypto. How fast did Bitcoin move? How fast did XRP move? XRP was up almost 50% at one point. It moves very quickly. So we send you what we call pre-alerts. That means you're going to get a notification 15% away from the target, another one at 10% away, another one at 5%, and then the final one comes when you're at the target. Those notifications are coming through in the form of an email. You can also do SMS. If you've got the Android app, you can get it in the form of a regular notification in your app. And once the iPhone app is available, which I think we're getting close. Talking to our developer, I think we're making strides to get close to it. So once the iPhone app is available, you will also get those instant notifications there as well.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so let's go see if anybody has any questions. I don't believe that I saw any yet.
We had Kevin from Lakeland. That's very close to where I am at. I'm in Sarasota. I know exactly where Lakeland is, next to Orlando, or not next to Orlando, but maybe about like 40 minutes, I think, from Orlando.
Mario, on a completely different note, I did Mercury Spaces yesterday to talk about Mercury type of things like entertainment. We talked about D23. They're making an opening in Orlando, Disneyland, in the Florida one, Disney World. They're opening a Villains Land, and
yes, I saw that.
Did you see that announcement for the Villains Land? And did you see the announcement for the Monstropolis? So they're, so they're making a Monsters Inc. area, and in the Monsters Inc. area, have you ever seen the movie Monsters Inc.?
Yeah.
Okay, so
long time ago, I can't remember a lot of it.
Do you remember the doors that fly through, and then the doors fly down and lock, and then they can open into like different worlds or whatever?
I don't remember that part.
Okay, well, if you have a chance, go and look that up, because they're gonna have like a ride like that, where you sit in a chair. Obviously, you get strapped in really tight, and your legs are hanging, and it says it's gonna shoot you up in 4 seconds. And then you're just going to take off like you're one of the doors that are going through the roller coaster.
Oh my God.
It sounded so fun. I was like, I got to go to Florida now. And I got to tell Mario about that I have.
You know what's beautiful about being in Florida?
What?
Is that I get Florida resident discount.
What? You get a discount?
And I have annual passes. I literally just got the annual passes a month ago.
What? So then we can all go together. We'll all go
down. Go whenever I want.
That's really cool, Mario.
So whenever you come, just let me know. We'll go together.
Absolutely. I am looking forward to it. It'll be amazing. All right. So we have the exit strategy. That's what Merlin's been about for the last, I guess, 2.5 years mainly, that we've been focusing on that. But then markets kind of go down also. right? And so we had the thought process, and people were asking us, they're like, well, I want to know when's the best time to buy in. So then what did we do? We created an entry strategy so you can set up targets of when to know to put more of your money in. And so that is also part of our strategy builder. So Mario, could you go over a little bit about how to do an entry strategy for, I guess in this case, Bitcoin?
Yeah, absolutely. So same process, same, create entry strategy gives you the step-by-step wizard. I've skipped that. Once you get the chart, again, always zoom out a couple of times. What we're doing now is we're doing the inverse. We're going to look for the low and high points. So we want to go from low to high. So what I like to do is let's look for the low that came in the past. And again, it's difficult to assume this is a low, or actually, this is a bear market developing, so we can't really use that. We've got to use the prior bear market. So let me use the low here. Let me drag it to the high that came in after. In this case, we can use the last high that we got because we're working off of low to high. So we can absolutely use the last high that we got last year for Bitcoin at 126,000. I'm going to click that. We get the levels drawn out, but notice how these levels are now the opposite direction. They're downwards as opposed to being to the upside. That's the whole purpose of us coming up with an entry strategy. So last thing we'll do is, again, do the number of targets we would like to extract. Now, here's where I always explain this part, because a lot of people, they're like, well, I put 10, but I only got 5. Remember that Bitcoin was 126,000 at some point in October of last year. And today, I mean, it's already moved significantly, but it's down significantly from that point already. So if we were at 126,000, or if we were in the October of last year timeframe, or even if we were in the December timeframe where it was 100,000, for example, you would be able to get a lot of targets because we were still up there. Now that we've surpassed a lot of those down targets, Merlin's only going to give us targets that are below what we're at today. It doesn't make sense for Merlin to say, hey, buy at 100,000. But why would I buy 100,000 if we're at 74,000? So these targets are all below our current price. That's why we're seeing only 5, because it also won't give us negative targets. It's not going to tell you to buy Bitcoin at negative $5,000. That's not possible. So 5 targets, we've got 7. And actually, this is better than not too long ago, because
it is much better than not too long ago. I'm looking at it right now, and I was like, I need to go relook at some of my entry targets.
Yeah, and like not too long ago, Bitcoin was at 57,900, so we would only get 3 targets, and now we've got 5 to work with. So even better. Click build strategy, brings it over into our entry strategy. Now the difference is, we don't have to worry about stipulating how much we're selling, because we're not selling, we're buying. And we don't even need to say here, hey, I want to buy this much and not buy this much, right? That's pointless. What we need to say is, at each target, how many coins do I want to purchase? So for example, let's say at 70,979, I want to buy 0.1 Bitcoin. At 57,956, I want to be a little more aggressive, buy 0.5. If we get down to 39,000, then I want to go all in and buy a whole Bitcoin. If we get a 28, man, I want to buy 2 Bitcoins. If we get a target number 5, which is 15,000, I want to buy 10 Bitcoin at this price. You get the calculation and the cost basis here on the side. So it tells you what the cost basis of buying 0.1 at this price is. And at the bottom, you have how many coins you would have accumulated if you were to purchase at all these targets, the total cost, how much it would have cost you in dollars, and what your average cost basis would be once you were to execute all of these targets as well. That's it. That's how easy it is. Press save, and you're good to go.
It's great, because I hit my first buy-in target. I put, just being transparent with everybody, I put like 10 grand aside, and I was like, when it hits this, I'm going to buy 10 more grand of Bitcoin. And I bought, to be honest, I bought right at a great time, because now you started seeing Bitcoin going back up. So when I looked at my portfolio as this, it started to increase, you could see the benefit of actually doing a specific entry strategy. And so again, these go in tandem with each other, because you want to be able to buy. The way that I did it, Mario, is I have DCA. So I'm dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin on a regular basis anyway. But then
Mhm.
what I did was I set a larger amount of money aside and said, okay, if Bitcoin hits these entry targets, I'm going to allot this amount of money at these different entry targets.
Yep.
Do you think that that's a decent strategy to have that in tandem with your dollar cost average?
1000%. I love that. That's what I do as well, except I'm not necessarily kind of waiting for a specific, I DCA every 2 weeks. And then
Mhm.
what I do is I accumulate dollars on the side.
Mhm.
So for example, what I do is like, say I have $1,000 to invest this week. I will transfer $1,000 into my exchange, but I will only DCA 80% of it. So I leave
Mhm.
20% in there. If it accumulates for 2 months, it will accumulate for 2 months. But then when I deploy it is when we have like one of those unexpected big red days, which always comes. We always have a moment where there's blood on the streets and something fearful just happened. Well, those are the terminologies. There's
I
blood on
know.
the streets.
It's always. I know that is the terminology. It's just always funny because I'm like, what if something even horrible happens? Something more horrible happens, and there is blood on the streets on those days.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Mario, for showing both of those exit strategy, I guess exit strategy and entry strategy demos. And we
Mhm.
call that specific tool our strategy builder, right? So
Yes.
you can do both entry and exit. Now, the strategy builder is only available to people that do our pro account. Is that correct?
Yes, correct. But you do get to try it 30 days for free. So everybody that signs up for an account, here's the link. You get to try everything for 30 days. And then you get to choose which plan would you like? Would you like the pro with the strategy builder? But it's not just the strategy builder, Jeremy. I know we love that part, but I always showcase that we have the full charting capabilities. And the full charting capabilities alone, I mean, I'm not going to mention names, but you will pay $25 to $30 a month just for charting capabilities. And
Yeah.
we're giving you that with our pro plan at a much cheaper rate of $21.88. And you have access to being able to do much more, the portfolio tracking, the exit and entry strategy builder. So I always like
Yep.
to showcase that as
Yeah, and
well.
also one of the benefits of subscribing to the Merlin channel and being notified when we go live is because with Merlin off the charts, our goal is to show you all of those other types of things that Merlin has to offer that's just outside of what we're mainly known for, which is the exit strategy. But even with the basic plan, right, you can still set up exit strategies. So if you're
Mhm.
thinking to yourself, hey, look, I know how to do Fibonacci's. I've been using something like TradingView for a very long time, or something along those lines. I have no problem doing my charting. I can figure out my own exit targets. I don't need that pro plan. You can still create the exit strategies and the entry strategies yourself. Same
Mhm.
methodology that Mario put in here. The only thing is you don't get the strategy builder piece of it, and you can still go in and set your exits and your entry points. So again, there is a big benefit to Merlin just in general, and we're working to have something that's available for everyone to specifically use. And so if anybody has a question, you can put it in the comments and we will answer that question about Merlin or how to do something in Merlin. Or if you want us to do an example of a coin that you have in here, we'd be more than happy to do that. But until questions start coming in, the next big thing that I want to kind of announce to people that I'm very excited for, because me and Mario are huge AI buffs, I guess you could say. Mario even more so than me. His stuff is crazy, what he can do with AI. But you can now connect Claude, ChatGPT, and or Grok to Merlin, and you can now ask your AI about stuff that's going on in your Merlin account. Is that correct, Mario?
That is 1000% correct.
All right. So are you able to tell me a little bit more about that and what that would look like and what we could do with that?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely tell you more about that, but I think I can make this a little more fun and have someone else tell you about that. How do you like that
Dang.
idea?
I love that idea, Mario. Do it
All
up.
right, let's see. Hey, chat. So I'm here doing this Merlin live stream, and I need your help to showcase one of the features that we're about to talk about, which is the fact that you can connect, or that Merlin Crypto can connect to AI chat agents like yourself, ChatGPT, but also Claude and also Grok. So I've already connected you to my Merlin Crypto demo account. Can you pull up my portfolio and tell me how it's been doing over the past week?
Checking. Okay, so I don't actually have live access to your connected Merlin account from here unless the data is passed into this chat. But we can still demo the flow. So you'd say something like, summarize my past 7 days. And the assistant would
Okay,
respond with performance.
I do have
Go
you.
ahead.
I do have you connected already through the MCP. So can you pull up my Merlin crypto portfolio?
One moment. I'm not seeing a live tool connection exposed on my
Did the
side
tool
right now,
connection get
so
disconnected?
It might have got disconnected. So that's one of those live fails that we just
That's
experienced.
okay.
But
This reminds
trust
me
me,
of
it
when
worked.
Elon Musk shot that cyber truck and then the bullet went right through it.
I
All
can
right.
I Yeah, go on, Jeremy.
Oh no, go ahead, Mario. I don't know. We might have to stay the MCP demo for the next time for that piece of it, but we can definitely show people how to connect. I do see that someone has a question here.
Let's do it.
Linex7648, I'm in my trial period. As soon as I set up my exit strategy, I was sold. I was always unsure of an exit plan. Now I feel so much more confident what to do, what markets move up. Now I need a buy plan. Yeah, so I think that I'm understanding Linek. And so the good news is you do have the ability to set up an entry strategy so you can create a buy plan inside of Merlin. But thank you so much for saying that, that helped make you feel confident. That is exactly what we're trying to do with Merlin. My whole main purpose in life as it relates to finances is to help people take sovereignty over their own decision making with their finances. I'm not saying that financial advisors are bad or anything along those lines. What I'm saying is that you as an individual know your situation better than anybody else can. So the more that you can make those decisions yourself, the better I believe that your financial future will be, and you'll be able to create generational wealth or build wealth for you and your family. And we think of that as in tandem with Merlin, because Merlin's a tool that can help people take the onus or the ownership of what they are specifically doing. And we're trying to make that as easy as possible. And one of those ways that we're making that easy as possible is having the connection to the AI, because again, as I said before, Mario and myself are really big AI buffs, and I think that there might have just been a connection disconnect for what Mario was trying to show. But one of the great things about Merlin is when you connect Merlin to Claude through their connectors feature, you have the ability to see what's going on with your portfolio, right? And so my partner asked me the other day when I was explaining this to her, she's like, well, then is there still a benefit for you to have Merlin? And of course there is. The better benefit though is now you don't even have to ever like go into Merlin for quick access, right? Only when you need to go and do something inside of Merlin, or maybe if you want to go and check out the news because it's a news feature inside of there. But more importantly, you can actually get information from ChatGPT, Claude, or Grok on the go. So if I'm here right now and when I'm like starting my day, rather than me going and checking my Merlin account, rather than me going checking my Coinbase account, I can just jump into Claude and say, hey, Claude, can you give me an update on what's going on in my crypto portfolio via Merlin? It pulls up the connector and then it starts giving me that specific information. So I'm going to go back to Mario and see how he's doing. Mario, how are you doing? If not, I can talk all day long. I do this all day on Fridays.
No, I just reconnected. So FYI, I connected to the MCP, or I connected my ChatGPT when it was technically still in a closed testing phase before we went public. So I think that with the updates and when we went public, some things changed. So I just went ahead and reconnected my ChatGPT. It's working. The way it works with ChatGPT is you got to do it on your computer. Once it's done on your computer, then it should work off the phone. So I just verified it, pulled my portfolio here on my computer with ChatGPT. I am going to try again. So let's start a new chat. Let me bring up. All right, let's try this again. I've got my Merlin crypto connected via MCP. Can you look up my portfolio holdings?
Checking now. I'm not actually seeing your Merlin MCP tools in this chat.
Let's try this. Hold on.
We're going to make this work some point or other. But just for clarity, I just asked Claude vis-a-vis chat, not on the desktop app. And it told me my portfolio is up 4% as of right now, $1,415. and then it gave me a breakdown of all of the cryptocurrencies that I have automatically, what the asset was, what the value was, the allocation, the total gain and loss within and what it has changed within 24 hours, which is the information that's inside of the app Merlin, but I was able to extract that utilizing the MCP. And one of the things too, later on, if you're watching on our New Wealth Transfer podcast, that both Mario and I are on for the Coach JV channel on YouTube, we do talk a lot about AI, and we just encourage people for these types of things to test them out, try them, mainly because there's really good information that you can get from looking like essentially utilizing AI to do research for you and get information for you. It can help make you more efficient and save you time. All right, I'm gonna go back over to Mario for a moment. You're still working?
No, we're good. So I think takes a moment for like the computer to sync with the mobile app, but it's working on my computer, so we'll use my computer. Let me unmute here. Hey, chat. So can you tell me what my crypto portfolio is in my Merlin crypto account?
It's about $113,955, up overall and today, with most of it in Bitcoin and XRP.
And can you tell me my a breakdown of my allocation? So which assets do I have in my portfolio?
Sure, let me pull up the allocations. Bitcoin is 67.9%, about $77,350. And XRP is 32.1%, about $36,587. The rest are tiny positions: Cardano, US dollars, Compound, Stellar, Basic Attention Token, Kronos, and World Liberty Financial. Together, only about $18.
So since you can do this, I mean, we could technically have a conversation about how I can go about researching and maybe reallocating my portfolio a little bit better, correct?
Yeah, we can definitely talk it through. A good starting point is clarifying your goals, timeline, and risk comfort, since you're pretty concentrated right now. We could also outline a research checklist like diversification, liquidity, custody risk, and rebalancing rules. What are you optimizing for? Growth, capital preservation, or something else?
There we go. I think we show the power of this, right?
Yeah. So then you can just keep learning from it, and it can give you advice. I don't want to say advice. It can give you ideas on how to go about the research. And so that's one of the biggest benefits, in my opinion, from utilizing AI, is because you can do research for what it is that you're trying to understand or do a lot faster than we could do if we were doing regular Google searching or going and looking up periodicals or information. It doesn't mean that you don't have to put in any work after that, right? Because you have to look at it, make sure that you understand it, make sure that you can do it. But that's one of the biggest benefits, in my opinion, of looking at AI. And that was why it was so important for us to start our move into AI in some capacity inside of Merlin by starting off with the MCP connector. So Mario, how can people do this inside of the app? Where do they go inside of Merlin to look to doing connecting this? And I know you might not be able to show that from your ChatGPT to it, but where can they go to get the information on how to do it?
Yeah, so the first thing you do is you come here to the little profile icon in the top right corner, then head over to settings, and you'll notice that for anybody that uses Merlin, you'll notice that now there's an integrations tab here on the left side. If you're new, then this is where you go. So integrations, and then you will have the steps on how to do it for Claude, ChatGPT, and Grok. So from this point forward, what you do is you go into the actual AI tool, you go into Claude, ChatGPT, or Grok, and you follow these steps to add the connector. Once you're adding the connector, it then opens up a browser window for you to sign into the Merlin account. That's it. That's how it authenticates the connection over to your actual Merlin account. Once you do that, you can literally just start talking to it right away. I love the voice feature. What I've been doing in the morning, Jeremy, when I go on my walk, I find that walking is great for my creativity. So with the new voice feature from ChatGPT, I literally just put my AirPod and I will have a conversation with ChatGPT the whole way. And I've got lots of things connected to my ChatGPT. So I can literally say, hey, can you go into you were just talking about Google Drive. Hey, can you go into my Google Drive and tell me if I've got this file, or can you tell me if this thing is organized correctly, or can you go and organize it for me? I can ask it to tell me the biggest news of the day. I can ask it, how is my crypto portfolio doing from my Merlin connection? So I'll spend 30 minutes on a walk, literally just having a conversation with my ChatGPT.
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest benefits, in my opinion, of AI, again, is the research piece of it. And I encourage people that have Merlin to go and try this feature out, because you can start, again, taking sovereignty over your own wealth, researching stuff vis-a-vis utilizing conversation with an AI such as Chat, Claude, or Grok, and then you can take that, what you're learning, go, do further research, and then make assessments on your over portfolio. So again, I think that that's something that's beneficial, and it's one of the many features that we've added to Merlin, and it's the last feature that I want to highlight for today's Off of the Charts. And so I will give a few more moments. Does anybody have any other questions that's in the chat? And Mario, do you have anything else that you want to mention?
Yes, absolutely. I always love to mention our customer support, because our customer support is the heart of everything that we do here at Merlin. We're not just an app where you can do amazing things with it. We're also an app that you can get support if you don't know how to use the features. So we're giving everybody free onboarding sessions when you get started, and we're giving everybody free access to our support. Anytime you need us, just drop us a chat. There's a way to talk to us on the bottom right corner. You'll see this little chat icon. When you click it, you can send us a message. Our team will get back to you. If we have to schedule a call to jump on a call to understand the issue a little bit better, or your question a little bit better, we will. If you need help setting something up, then we can also jump on a call. I just say use and abuse of our support access, because it is going to set you up for success. We don't limit how much you can use it, and we actually think it's the biggest differentiator that we have, and we love everything about our support team, because and actually, if you go look at our reviews, it's all about how amazing the support team is. So if anything, know that you've got support. We're not one of those apps where you sign up and then you're stuck and you don't get support. That's not the case.
Yep, absolutely. Well, all right, Mario, I think that'll cover us for the first, Off the Charts, or Merlin Off the Charts live demos and Q&A that we're doing today. So last calls to action, Mario. Where can people find you specifically on social media? And what are some other things that you have going on?
Yeah, you can find me on pretty much all social media platforms, although there's a couple I'm more active. I've been making a point of being more active on Instagram, more active on X. You can find me at Link with Mario. I do Merlin, so you'll see me talk a lot about Merlin. I also am a part of the 3T Warrior Academy, where I actually help with a couple of things there. I do coaching, and I also help on the tech side.
And anything that we need.
Anything we need. I'm also doing a lot of tech stuff with Freedom Insurance, so I highly recommend you guys check that out as well. But otherwise, on social media, you will hear me talk about crypto. You'll hear me talk about investing a little bit, and AI. Those are the three things that I'm most passionate about at the moment.
Yeah, that's awesome, Mario. Thank you so much. And again, my name is Jeremy. You can follow me on social media at Age of Jeremy, and make sure that you follow Merlin on all social media. On Instagram, it's Merlin_crypto, and on X, it's Get Merlin Crypto. So make sure that you check both of those out. And then
the links
also
are below as well. The links are below.
Yep. And then also too, I know Mario, do we have 30 days for free? www.merlincrypto.com, get 30 days for free. When you do it, you will get the pro. And then once your 30 days are up, you can sign up for which one that you want, basic and or pro. And again, pro not only comes with the strategy builder, it also comes with charting capabilities as well, which is as we move forward in Merlin Off the Charts, we'll be talking about all the intricate, awesome things that Merlin is doing and upcoming things that Merlin will be doing, as well as new features are launched. So with that, as I always say, be thankful, grateful, and kind. Go get your 30 days free for Merlin, and we'll talk with you guys soon. Bye.
Bye, everyone.